Hi, Tree Town friends. Here's a fun story that we would read at the end of the year called Caps for Sale. It's by S4 Slovakina. And take a look at that. He's a peddler in the tree. Uh-oh, look on the front cover. Who's sneaking around? Once there was a peddler who sold caps, but he was not like any ordinary peddler, carrying his wares on his back. He carried them on top of his head. First, he had his own checked cap, and then a bunch of gray caps, then brown caps, blue caps, and red caps. He walked up and down the streets, holding himself very straight, as to not upset his caps. As he went along, he called, "Caps! Caps for sale! 50 cents a cap!" One morning, he couldn't sell any caps. He walked up and down the street, and he walked down the street, calling, "Caps! Caps for sale! 50 cents a cap!" But nobody wanted any caps that morning. Nobody wanted even a red cap. He began to feel very hungry, but he had no money for lunch. "I think I'll go for a walk in the country," he said, and he walked out of town slowly as not to upset his caps. And there he goes. He walked for a long time until he came to a great big tree. "That's a nice place for a rest," he thought, and he sat down very slowly under the tree and leaned back little by little against the tree trunk as not to disturb the caps on his head. Then he put up his hand to feel if they were all straight. There's the check cap, there's the gray ones, there's the brown ones, the blue ones, and the red caps all on top. They were there for a long time, so he went to sleep. He slept for a really long time, and when he woke up, he was refreshed and rested. But before standing up, he felt his hand to make sure his caps were in the right place. All he felt was his own checked cap. Where'd they go? He looked to the right of him, no caps. He looked to the left of him, no caps. He looked behind him, no caps. Then he looked up in the tree, and what do you think he saw? What do you think's up in the tree? Let's find out. On every branch sat a monkey, and every monkey was a gray or a brown or a blue or a red cap. The peddler looked at the monkeys. The monkeys looked at the peddler. He didn't know what to do, and finally he spoke to them. "You monkeys, you," he said, shaking his finger at him. "You give me back those caps." But the monkeys only shook their fingers right back at him and went, "Tss, tss, tss." This made the peddler very angry, so he shook both his hands this time. "You monkeys, you give me back my caps." But the monkeys only shook both their hands back at him and went, "Tss, tss, tss." Now he felt quite angry. He stamped his foot and he said, "You monkeys, you better give me back my caps." But the monkeys only stamped their feet back at him and went, "Tss, tss, tss." By this time, the peddler was really very, very angry, and he stamped both his feet and shouted, "You monkeys, you must give me back my caps." But the monkey only stamped both their feet back at him and said, "Tss, tss, tss." At last, he became so angry that he pulled off his cap, threw it on the ground, and began to walk away. What do you think's gonna happen? But then each monkey pulled off their hat and All the gray caps, all the brown caps, all the blue caps, all the red caps came flying down out of the tree. So the peddler picked up his caps and put them back on his head. First his own check cap, then his gray caps, then the brown caps, then the blue caps, then the red caps on the very top. And slowly, slowly, he walked back to town calling, "Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." The end.